leaders seek to guarantee Ukraine's security ahead of the incoming Trump administration, but say the jury is still out on Syria.
Joining the EU summit in Brussels, Ukrainian President Zelensky was clear with his position on a possible ceasefire. No security guarantees, no ceasefire.
Renovation work continues at Berlin's Komische Opera, but what impact will drastic cuts to the city's culture budget have?
EU leaders met with Ukrainian President Zelensky for a two-day summit in Brussels where they sought to guarantee Ukraine's security ahead of the incoming Trump administration. It's widely expected that Donald Trump will force Europe to take far more of the burden for its own security, including that of Ukraine's. But leaders were also clear that this could not mean pushing Ukraine into an unjust ceasefire.
The European Union stands united in its support to Ukraine to win a comprehensive, just and lasting peace. Not any peace, not capitulation. Only Ukraine, as the aggressor country, can legitimately define what peace means and if and when the conditions are met for credible negotiations.
The EU also gave cautious welcome to the fall of Assad in Syria, but said time will tell as to whether Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the group which has emerged, will keep up to its claims that it will respect minorities and act responsibly in the region.
With the fall of Assad for the very first time in a decade, the people of Syria can hope for a better future. But we all know that for now the jury is still out. It is too early to say whether the new leadership will be able to deliver what they promise, whether the territorial integrity will be preserved, national unity will be preserved, and minorities will be protected. Europe will do its part to support Syria at this critical juncture because we care about Syria's future.
As much as EU leaders sought to reassure President Zelensky that they would protect Ukraine come what may, it's clear that the EU is still in a position to wait and see what Donald Trump will do regarding the fate of Ukraine, the future of Europe and other geopolitical matters, including Syria. Shona Murray, Euronews, Brussels.
The possibility of a ceasefire has been on the talks lately, but during his press conference in Brussels, President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, quickly killed the idea. For the Ukrainian, there should be a clear plan on how the day after will look like, which is something that doesn't exist now.
Припинення вогню. Ми повинні з вами зрозуміти, що ми не можемо жити з замороженим конфліктом. Коли йдеться мова про ceasefire, у будь-якому конфлікті, у будь-якій війні, люди знають, що буде після. Чим все закінчиться. Треба знати, що завтра, для того, щоб сьогодні робити ceasefire. А в іншому випадку ви просто робите заморожений конфлікт і все. І тому Україні потрібні гарантії безпеки. Сильна позиція України і гарантії безпеки.
Zelensky praised during his talk the president-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. But he had not such kind words for Vladimir Putin.
I think he's crazy. I think so. Really, I think he also thinks that he's crazy. No, it's true. He loves to kill. That's very dangerous for everybody.
On February, it would be the third anniversary of the war in Ukraine, a date arriving at a critical moment for the conflict.
Speaking at his annual press conference, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia is ready to negotiate on potential peace talks, but claims Ukraine is not ready to do so.
Политика и есть искусство компромисса. А мы всегда говорили, что мы готовы и к переговорам, и к компромиссам. Просто противная сторона, в прямом и переносном смысле этого слова, противная сторона отказалась от переговоров.
Putin holds the annual event combined with a question and answer session in an effort to reinforce his authority. It comes just a few days after Ukraine killed Russia's head of nuclear defense troops outside of his apartment building in Moscow. General Igor Kirillov was recently charged by Ukrainian prosecutors for using banned chemical weapons. When asked about his death, Putin commended the journalist for calling it an assassination and accused Ukraine of repeatedly committing terrorist acts.
Вы сказали покушение. Я вам благодарен за это, потому что вы косвенно признали, что это террористический акт. Почему? Потому что это убийство совершено способом, опасным для жизни многих.
Putin also spoke about Russia's economy, a potential meeting with US President Donald Trump, the situation in Syria, and relations with China.
After 3 years and 24 hearings, a verdict in the open arms trial will be finally reached on Friday in Palermo. But this is no ordinary verdict. Italy's Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini could face a sentence of up to 6 years in prison. The former Interior Minister has been charged with kidnapping for preventing 147 migrants from disembarking on the island of Lampedusa in 2019. The League leader has already made clear he will not step down if found guilty. He believes that defending borders is not a crime. Should I end up being convicted, this would be a major defeat for Italy and Europe. These were his words. The Patriots for Europe group has already defended Salvini's actions, while members of the League party say they're ready to take to the streets if their leader will be convicted.
È assolutamente auspicabile un'assoluzione. Nel caso di condanna reagiremo, secondo me, con gli strumenti propri di uno Stato di diritto, vale a dire con il sistema delle impugnazioni. Politicamente andrà valutata questa condanna, ma io mi auguro che tutto resti come prima, e cioè che Salvini resti assolutamente al suo posto.
The Spanish NGO Open Arms vessel, which had rescued the migrants, waited 19 days before being allowed to disembark those on board. They say that as a result, their operations suffered a major setback. Here is what they told us about the trial. Let's take a listen.
Da subito abbiamo chiesto che si facesse verità su quanto accaduto in quei 20 giorni. E devo dire che per ora siamo molto soddisfatti, perché attraverso questi 46 testimonianze, ma attraverso questi lunghi anni, in realtà è emersa una verità fondamentale, ovvero che salvare vite non è un reato e anzi è un obbligo di ognuno di noi.
In the case of a conviction, Salvini has the right to appeal, but it could take years before a final verdict is reached. But it's clear that whatever the judges decide this Friday will have a significant political impact, not just in Italy, but also in the EU. Giorgio Orlandi for Euronews in Rome.
Germany wants to increase the size of its armed forces up to 230,000 from the current target of 203,000. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced the ambitious plan as he answered questions in the Bundestag. Germany currently has 180,000 active personnel, approximately 20,000 short of its current target. The German armed forces have been struggling to recruit people for years. The targets Pistorius wants to set will further complicate an already difficult objective. Pistorius says the plan to increase the number of permanent staff is to meet NATO's capability targets. NATO demanded its members to increase their defense capacities to boost the alliance's strength following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
Berlin's Komische Opera House is likely to continue renovations despite drastic culture budget cuts across the city. The Opera House has found a temporary new home at the nearby Schiller Theatre, which has 20% fewer seats than its original home and means fewer ticket sales. Director Philip Bröking says that the upcoming budget cuts are extremely painful and for many theatres difficult to implement.
Das eine Problem ist, dass die Kultur generell in Berlin eine Zuschussabsenkung von 130 Millionen Euro haben soll, von rund 1 Milliarde. Das ist überproportional viel. Berlin muss sparen, das wissen wir, das weiß jeder. Aber wenn ich jetzt sehe, dass insgesamt 3 Milliarden für 2025 gespart werden müssen und der Kulturhaushalt 2,5% der Gesamtausgaben des Landes ausmacht, dann wären das eigentlich 75 Millionen, die im Kulturetat zu sparen sind. Tatsächlich werden aber 130 Millionen gespart, das ist überproportional viel und uns trifft das mit rund 10% unseres Budgets, das sind also rund 4 Millionen. Das ist schwierig zu bewerkstelligen innerhalb eines Jahres, das schon komplett verplant ist.
Berlin is regarded as extremely progressive and unique because of its generous art funding. But even if the renovation of the Komische Oper that is due to take 6 years continues, the budget cuts still affect Germany's image.
Was ist uns Kultur wert für Berlin? Wir haben, die deutsche Geschichte ist eine sehr schwierige, komplizierte Geschichte, die Geschichte Berlins erst recht. Ja. Aber was uns vereint, ist dieses riesige kulturelle Erbe, auf das wir zu Recht stolz werden können. Wir haben so viele Orte hier, Schauspielhäuser, Opernhäuser, wo man die Bedingungen menschlichen Lebens ausloten kann. Ja. Also alles Dinge, wo man sich versammelt, miteinander ins Gespräch kommt, miteinander und übereinander redet. Da gibt es nicht so viele Orte. Und gerade auch in Zeiten, in der die Demokratie von den extremen Rändern bedroht ist, ist es sehr, sehr wichtig, sich selbst zu vergewissern, wer man ist und woher man kommt. Und das können wir liefern.
But it's not just the culture that will be affected by the cuts. The German economy, which continues to splutter, could use a little bit of acceleration from the arts and culture, which brings in tens of millions of euros worth of revenue per year.